Chapter 19, Free Energy and Thermodynamics. So chapters 16, 17, and 18 all had ice tables in them, right? And some of you think those are fun, and a lot of you think those are horrible. So this is different. There's no ice tables in chapter 19. Although some of you might think this is just horrible in a different way. I don't know. We have a quote here, and I did take a year of German in college, but I'm not going to try to say it in German. The energy of the world is constant. The entropy of the world tends towards a maximum. Rudolf Clausius. And this is the same Clausius as in the Clausius-Clapeyron equation that we looked at earlier. Okay, nature's heat tax. You can't win. So energy transactions are like gambling, right? The house is going to win in the end. So the first law of thermodynamics tells us that energy is conserved in chemical processes. That means you can't create or destroy energy, right? If we burn gasoline to run a car, only about 20% of the energy from that combustion reaction actually goes towards moving the car. The other 80% is dissipated as heat. It's not very efficient. So the energy from the reaction equals the energy that moves the car plus heat. So you can't win because you can't create energy that wasn't there to begin with, right? You can't even break even. You can't even break even. You can't win and you can't break even because of this heat tax. We'll talk about the second law of thermodynamics soon. So let's think about a rechargeable battery. The battery does 100 kilojoules of work. When you go to recharge it, it's going to take more than 100 kilojoules of energy to recharge it. Energy is not destroyed in this discharging, recharging the battery, but some of it is lost to the surroundings in order for the process to occur at all. What happens when a battery charges typically? Like what happens to your phone when it's charging? It gets warm, right? That's some of the energy that goes into charging the battery but doesn't actually charge the battery. It gets lost. So every time you discharge and recharge a battery, you're paying a heat tax, essentially. You lose some of that energy to the environment. The additional energy is lost as heat. We call it a heat tax because real-world processes are less than 100% efficient. And there's just no way you can make them 100% efficient. So the fewer transactions that you have, the more efficient your energy use will be, but you still can't break even. So let's look at heating with natural gas versus heating with electricity. So heating with natural gas, I have a gas furnace in my house, and so the natural gas comes in, you burn it, and it produces heat to heat your home. You pay a heat tax. Yeah, you're generating heat, but not all of it goes into your home. Some of it is lost. Well, what if you're heating with electricity instead? So a lot of electricity is generated by burning fossil fuel. So we burn fossil fuel to make steam, pay a heat tax. We use the steam to drive a turbine to generate electricity, pay a heat tax. We transport that electricity across miles and miles and miles, pay a heat tax. We take the electricity to run the heater, to energize the heater, pay a heat tax. The heater generates the heat, the energy, we lose to the heat tax. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've paid heat tax 5 times versus 1 time. Yeah? That's a good question. Would the same amount of heat be lost if you use nuclear power? So nuclear power is used to generate electricity by essentially making steam. And so you would still be paying heat tax, yeah. But the thing is, a very, very small amount of nuclear material will generate as much heat as just tons and tons of coal. And yes, it does make some toxic waste. We have some, leftover radioactive material, but it's really a small amount, and it doesn't contribute all these gases, sulfur and other things to the air. So, unfortunately, we will talk about nuclear energy a little bit in Chapter 21. Nuclear energy is really a much better way to generate electricity, but people are afraid of it. That's basically what it comes down to. Any other questions?